What's up, guys? Welcome to Whiskey. I'm Jeff. This is a channel where I offer my thoughts and opinions on a specific whiskey, and if you stick around to the end, I'll be giving it a score as well. If that sounds interesting, hit subscribe down below, and with that out of the way, let's jump into our review. Today we've got a side-by-side. I'll be looking at the Speyburn 15 and 18. Stick around. Okay, so this video has been requested quite a bit ever since I looked at the 15-year-old about a year or so ago, and ever since Roy over at Aquavite started waxing poetics about it. Over the past year, I've had quite a few requests for me to not just review the 18, but compare it to the 15. And it's funny, when I reviewed the 15, I said at the time that I thought the 15 was a much better deal than the 18, because I had actually had the 18 before, but I never had a full bottle. I'd only had a sample. So now I've got my own bottle of the 18, I've become acquainted with it, I've spent some time with it, and that's partially why I only like to review full bottles. It's not that I'm a compulsive whiskey hoarder and I can't stop buying bottles. No, my reasons are much more noble and socially acceptable than that, and the reason is that I don't think you can really get to know a whiskey unless you've spent a fair amount of time with it. That means coming back to the whiskey on multiple occasions, seeing how it may or may not change, seeing how things like time and air and water levels might affect the flavor and the quality and the overall experience. So there's just so many reasons why it's definitely not the hoarder thing. Anyway, it's two bottles that we're looking at today. It's a side-by-side, and these ones are up-and-comers in the sense that a lot of enthusiasts have now caught on to the fact that, broadly speaking, Speyburn is affordable, craft-presented, and delicious. Which means that this brand has seen a huge surge in popularity over the last couple of years, and I'm pretty sure Roy gets all the credit for that. He's the reason that I bought that initial bottle of the 15, and I'm sure that's true for a lot of you out there too. Either way, now that the word has gotten out about Speyburn, now that people know about it, the inevitable follow-up question is, which one should I buy? Should I buy the 18-year-old? Should I buy the 15-year-old? Should I buy the 10-year-old? No, you shouldn't. That is the question that we're asking ourselves today. So we've got the 15 and the 18 in a battle to the death. It's a Speyburn face-off. A burn-off. A Spey face. Now, the last time I looked at the 15, I scored it an 89, but that was back with my older scoring system where I was more generous, so we can assume it might be a little bit lower today, but how much lower? Needless to say, though, I still am going to like it. As for the 18, I did recommend it recently on the channel. I didn't do a review on it, but I put it on one of my year-end lists, and I said it was a very good whiskey. So basically, we're looking at a good whiskey against a good whiskey today. It's not going to be a bad day. So without any further ado, let's jump into our comparison, and in the meantime, if you'll kindly leave a like down below, that would be greatly appreciated. For our specs, both of these are 46%, they're non-chill filtered, and they're natural color. For the appearance of the bottle, I'm not a huge fan of the Speyburn look. They look kind of like basic, they don't look very premium. I guess if I had to choose one out of the two, the 15-year-old with the blue pattern or the blue label looks a little bit better, but both of these are like 2.5 out of 5 for me. It's funny, the label of the 18-year-old says non-chill filtered, it says natural color, which is great. Meanwhile, the 15 does not mention either of those things, even though it is fully craft presented. So we've got two whiskeys from the same line. One of them brags about the good specs, the other one just doesn't mention them. That makes perfect sense to me. I don't think it's dumb at all. On the nose of the 15, this one gives us raisins and juicy plums. There's also blueberries, blackberries, red apples in there. We get the usual Christmas cake and spices like cinnamon and anise. We get stroopwafels, we get caramel. There's figs, there's stewed fruits. There's nice layers to this, nice richness. Yeah, good nose. On the palate and finish of the 15, this one is very mouth coating. We get some very classic sherry notes here. We get some wood, we get some spices, there's raisins, there's figs, there's dates, there's orange oil. Again, big plummy notes here. There's blueberries, there's stewed red fruits, there's mocha, there's cinnamon, there's black pepper, leather, and oak. On the nose of the 18, right out the gate, this one is sweeter than the 15-year-old, but still a very classic sherried whiskey. We get sweet red fruits here. We get some lighter tropical fruits underneath. We get candied fruits. There's apple cider, there's almonds, there's brown sugar, there's berries. Once again, we get that Christmas cake note with spices, so like anise, cinnamon, and some nutmeg. It's nice. For the 18's palate and finish, once again, it's full, it's mouth coating, it's rich, it's spicy, it's sweet. We get sweet red fruits. Again, we get that apple cider and brown sugar in here. This is also a little bit creamy with kind of a condensed milk type note. We get raisins, we get berries, we get cherries, and we get some oak in here. Medium finish. All right, so these are different, and they're about as different as they should be, I think. Before I did the side-by-side, I thought these would be much more similar than they actually are. And of course, if they ended up being similar, I would just recommend the 15 because it's cheaper. But no, there are differences. Most noticeably is probably the level of sweetness. The 15 is not quite as sweet as the 18. The 18 goes a little bit sweeter. It's not cloying, it's not over the top, it's nothing like that. But yeah, a lot of those sweet fruity notes in the 18 are just more prominent. Oppositely, the 15 is darker, it's spicier, it's even a little bit more savory. I mean, it's not like a Mortlach or a Ben Rinnes, but it's a little bit in that direction. What you're more likely to notice though in the 15 is a lot of more heavy or bitter notes, so stuff like dark chocolate, leather, spices, coffee, mocha, that kind of thing. Meanwhile, the 18 is more on sweet red fruits, cherries. We have those sort of like milky, creamy notes in there. It's just generally brighter and sweeter. Of the two though, the 18 is going to be rounder and, dare I say, it's going to be smoother. I know smooth is like a loaded word for some people. For me, smooth is neither good nor bad, it just is. But yeah, let's put it a little bit differently. The 18 is friendlier. And listen, that's not to say that the 15 is like this dark, heavy, brooding, challenging whiskey. Not whatsoever. It's just slightly more in that direction than the 18-year-old. Both of these are extremely easy to like whiskeys. They both have extremely broad appeal. If you're into sherry at all and you want something that's like age-stated, craft presented, and affordable, I can't imagine a world where you're going to dislike either one of these. So yeah, to sum up our differences here, the 15 is darker, heavier, and spicier, and the 18 is sweeter, fruitier, and creamier. Now, is there one of the two that I prefer? Maybe not, but there is one that I'm going to recommend. Still, it is worth remembering that I thoroughly enjoy both of these. I thoroughly recommend both of them. They're both excellent whiskeys. They're similar enough in the sense that they're both recognizable as Speyburn. They share that DNA, but they're also different enough that they justify their own existences and they do offer different experiences. For score, I'm going to land on 87 for both bottles, but there is one bottle that I'm more likely to come back to more often and replace more often, which takes us to value. So for value, predictably, I'm going to land on the 15. I think it's great bang for buck, and since I enjoyed every bit as much as the 18 and it's cheaper, that's probably the one I'll end up replacing more. That being said, worth noting that both of these are extremely good bang for buck in their respective age categories. And they are also different enough that you should try both. Just because I landed on the same score for both of these bottles doesn't mean you will. I think there's a lot of people out there who will probably gravitate more towards one over the other and, try them for yourself and figure out which one that is for you. Neither one of these is going to break the bank for their age brackets. They're both quality, they're both craft, they're both delicious, and if you're a fan of sherried whiskey and you've not tried Speyburn, you're missing out. But yes, gun to my head, if I had to choose one that I enjoy slightly more, it still might be the 15 because it's a little bit darker and it's a little bit spicier, and that's just something that I respond to. So yeah, the 15 for me, but really both are worth the money. And that is it for me today, guys. Thank you very much for watching. If you want to help out the channel, I've got the Patreon. Otherwise, you can like, comment, subscribe. Always appreciate it. And of course, I want to hear from you. Have you tried our Speyburn 15? Have you tried the 18? Did you like them? Have you compared them? Which one did you prefer? You can let me know all of that down below. Finally, down below in the comments, you can also tell me what you want to see me review next, and I'll keep it in mind for my upcoming videos. Bye, guys.